My name is Judith Sachs. I'm Chief Academic Officer of Studiosity. As part of our commitment to reconciliation, every year we have a number of conversations with Indigenous leaders about reconciliation, what it means for them, and what they see their contribution can be made to the institutions in which they work. This year we have three people that we are talking to from quite different universities: Nathan Towney, Deputy Vice-Chancellor Equity at Newcastle; Charlene Davison, the CEO of the Go Foundation; and Jennifer Barrett, Deputy Vice-Chancellor Indigenous at the University of Sydney. These people are leaders and educators whose remit is to make a difference to supporting Indigenous students to be successful. In the conversations I have with them, we're trying to understand what needs to be done to support students, how reconciliation can be a tool to ensure the success of institutions with Indigenous students. So listen, learn and enjoy the conversations with these Indigenous leaders as our contribution to Reconciliation Week in 2025. Good afternoon, everyone. I wish to acknowledge that I am talking to you from Gadigal land, and I wish to pay my respects to elders past and present. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Nathan Towney, who has just been appointed the Deputy Vice-Chancellor Equity at University of Newcastle. I'm going to let Nathan tell his own story about his journey to where he is. But my first question to you, Nathan, is tell me your story, but then importantly, what does reconciliation mean to you? And in your new role, what do you want to achieve in the broader project of reconciliation at the University of Newcastle?
Thanks very much, Judith. So Nathan Towney, I'm a Wiradjuri man from Wellington, New South Wales, and I'm dialing in from the lands of the Pemalong clan of the Awabakal people. So I also acknowledge country here. So it's been an interesting journey to end up in a university. I'm an alumni of this place. I studied PE teaching and was working in the New South Wales Department of Education for just over 20 years and worked as a PE teacher, a head teacher PE, a deputy principal, and then finished up principal at Newcastle High School. And I've been at the university now for 5.5 years. And the role that I was in prior to starting this new role was the Pro Vice Chancellor Indigenous Strategy and Leadership. And absolutely love this role, and I love the PVC role. And my role there was to drive an Indigenous strategy across the university. And so I guess to touch on what does reconciliation mean? For me, reconciliation for me means education first and foremost, for people to understand the truth of this country, and to understand the implications of that history to the world that we live in today, and understanding that and thinking about what can happen to try and advance outcomes for our people based on those historical impacts. And so within the university, I always think about it, our role of what an Indigenous strategy means across the university in 4 pillars. The first is really building cultural knowledge and understanding. And we have a role as a university to think about that from our curriculum perspective. So thinking about the type of cultural knowledge and understanding we build into our students so that every graduate from the University of Newcastle has a level of cultural knowledge and understanding. So it doesn't matter if they're going to be working with our mob in schools or in hospitals or in courtrooms or wherever it may be, that there is a base level of cultural knowledge and understanding that helps them understand those historical impacts of our people, and the role that they can play to support and advance outcomes for our people. That requires us to build the cultural capacity of our staff. So thinking really strategically about how we do that, and we've got teams of people that help do that. But then also more broadly, how do we build the cultural knowledge and understanding of our community? And so we have a series of different activities and events that we run that aim to do that. And one of them, which has been running now for 4 years, is our Narrama event, which is on the eve of the 26th of January, Survival Day. And that's a real reflective event, which is an amazing event. We get anywhere between 4,000 and 5,000 community members in at King Edward Park at Newcastle, and it's a beautiful reflection of our culture and a celebration of culture, which is fantastic. So that's the first pillar, is really thinking about how we build cultural knowledge and understanding. The second is our participation and retention. So we want to have more Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people engaged at our university, not just as students, but as staff members. And as we want to increase that engagement through our alumni and also through our community engagement programs as well. And so, we've got particular strategies around recruitment of students. We have pathway programs. We've got our Miramar Bumbilla program, which is a pathway program into our joint medical program. And we have an admission scheme into law. So there's specific pathways for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people into sort of programs that allow them to, I guess, bring their culture and identity to that program. I'll never forget when I was an undergrad student, Professor Bob Morgan, or Uncle Bob, said to me, and a number of trainee teachers, are you going to be an Aboriginal teacher, or are you going to be a teacher who just happens to be Aboriginal? And it really made me reflect on what I bring to the role as a teacher, and that I don't just conform to what is expected from a system point of view, but I actually stand out and bring my cultural identity to that role and the value system that encompasses that. And I think we have a responsibility as a university to ensure that all of our students, we have almost 2,000 Aboriginal students at our university, and that each of them feel comfortable to be able to do that, whether they're, again, going to be in a school or a hospital or a courtroom. It doesn't matter, that they're able to bring those value systems and what makes them Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander, that they bring that to the role, and that is a real strength for them to be able to do that. And when we increase participation, that people have great experiences and they want to remain engaged, and they go through to completion, and we support people along that journey. The third pillar is our research pillar, and really thinking about how we set some expectations for our institution on what the expectations are around research. Our people probably are the most researched population in the world. And so rather than being researched on, that we research with, and that we allow Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people to lead research and participate and, really, really drive what is being researched and how it's being researched, and who gets to do the research as well. And so, that's the third pillar, and we've got some structures in place now that really, I guess, strengthen that. We've got an Aboriginal health research community panel where our community actually, give feedback to health researchers, and actually it's a very vibrant group, and they're fantastic, and it's added a lot of value to the research that comes out of this place. And then the fourth pillar is also thinking about, our university has had a reconciliation action plan for some time, and really ensuring that all of those things we've just talked about across all the pillars align with not just me and my teams, but there are roles and responsibilities and actions for everybody across the university, and that they see the role that they play to help deliver that. And that requires the understanding of the why. That's important, and what it is that they can do and how they can do it. And we do that in partnership with our communities. So, I guess that's a long-winded response to what reconciliation means to me, but also then what it means for us here at the university.
Oh, I think I was really riveted listening to you. I've got two questions I'd like to ask. You've been successful in anybody's eyes. What helped you to achieve the success you've achieved? What were the enablers, either individually, family, or even institutionally?
I think definitely a values system that gets instilled from a young age, and watching people interact and learning how to work with people and build relationships and connections with people, I think is the foundation for me to be able to do what I've been able to do. And that started with young people in schools and building those strong connections with them and their families and really trying to help make a difference in their lives. And I think that got identified by school leaders, and they thought that they could leverage those relationships that I had built and get them as so that they encouraged me to apply for leadership roles within the school, and then building those types of relationships then with staff that I was managing and being able to drive effective teams based on good strong foundations of relationships, I think has been the cornerstone of that. And watching my mum and dad in the community that I grew up in Wellington take on leadership roles, whether it be through the junior rugby league club or dad as the Aboriginal police liaison officer, and watching him navigate really tricky spaces and complex spaces within our community of working with the police, but trying to do what's best for our community, and watching and learning all of that, I think has probably helped. And then when I then get into schools and work with amazing people, watching and learning from them and how they do things, and that's probably been I would say the foundation for my success. I don't think it's any sort of that's all I can sort of put it down to is being able to build really good relationships and connections with people.
And you've been open to learn. From what I'm hearing, you are learning every day, and
for sure.
And that as part of that learning, you want to communicate and build relationships so that other people can learn.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. And the thing that I'm really excited about within this new role is I get to work with a whole new team of people, and so it's really exciting, and they're all fantastic leaders in their own right. So it's such a privilege to be able to work with them and help them achieve their goals, and find out what it is that they want to do, and then empower them to be able to do it. That's that's what gets me up every day to be able to do that.
And just taking that on a bit, then, what will success look like? How will you know that at the end of the first year of this role that I've been successful?
Yeah, so I think in my first catch up with all of those leaders, it was trying to understand what their what are their priorities for the year, and what is it that they want to achieve. But then also our first meeting as a group collectively, what is it that we want to achieve? So individually, but then also collectively, so that we can if I think I'll be successful if we've been able to if I've been able to support them for those individual things that they wanted to achieve, but then also that I've been able to lead that collective impact that we can have together. And so that is how I would measure my success.
So my last sort of point to get something from you is it leading for reconciliation, or is it leading through reconciliation that you see as important, or is it both?
Yeah, I guess I don't really think too much about the term reconciliation, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I think it's about leading to make a difference, regardless of what that means, and to build that cultural knowledge and understanding across our stakeholders is something that's really important for me. And I think you do that through modelling the way to behave as a human being. And I find that means that people are more likely to buy in to what it is that you're doing and want to be part of something. And regardless of what that movement is, that's what you need. You need people, you need good people to be part of it, and you need that collective buy-in. And so I would say that you lead through your actions regardless of what it is that you are trying to achieve.
Nathan, thank you for giving me 15 minutes today. I've certainly got a clear understanding of what's happening at Newcastle, but even more so, the strength of the commitment and the sort of modelling that you have as an educator, but also as a leader. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You have been listening to Studiosity's podcast, Reimagining Higher Education, candid conversations within higher education, sharing stories of leadership, change, and best practice in teaching and learning. Visit studiosity.com.